Welcome to another episode of the Stack Supplement podcast, where we're going over all the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. And we've changed up the atmosphere a little bit on this episode, put some lights in the back and just made the camera light a little bit nicer, but we are, still keeping with the theme, going through the top stories. And it was a busy week last week, had some of the busiest days we'd seen in a while. In terms of just big stories, those are things that always get the attention from people. But yeah, it was a busy week, and we're going to kick things off with news out of the UK. And this was kind of a surprising one. I didn't see this one. I mean, I can say I didn't see this coming, but we definitely caught it before many others. And we're talking about the Platinum series in the UK. So if you've been following Stacked, as hopefully everybody here has, just recently, Optimum Nutrition in the US put out 2 new Platinum Series products. Platinum Series is the similar line to the Platinum Hydro Whey supplement that's been around for a while under Optimum Nutrition. And those were Platinum Platinum Igniter. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Platinum Igniter. And then they also did Platinum, I believe it was Rebuild, which was a post-workout or a protein powder with creatine in the mix. So in the UK, there are now 3 supplements. None of them are the same as the Platinum rollout we just saw in the US, but they are indeed a part or under the Platinum banner. There is Platinum Pre, Platinum Pump, if I'm trying to remember correctly, and Platinum Creatine. Now they're all very similar to the Platinum Pre or Platinum Igniter we saw in the US. All of the supplements in the UK are relatively straightforward. Nothing's too super overdosed. They're all very fitting for what we've seen from Optimum Nutrition, very similar to its gold standard pre-workout. But if you're wondering why it's different in the UK, this has been the case for as long as I can remember. If you've ever shopped in either of the places, even Australia has different selections. They all have different selections of supplements. I guess very similar to how Monster Ultra has different flavors in different parts of the world. I imagine it's probably comes down to what flavors might appeal to certain audiences and countries and what flavors they feel might do better and whatnot. So Optimum Nutrition has different supplements in the UK and Europe as well as the US, and then Australia. Muscle Tech's another one that does that. And so to roll out a different selection of supplements under the Platinum series, but at the same time as the US has gotten their 2 new ones as well. It's pretty cool to see that joint Platinum series extension. And again, even if it is quite different and quite varied, but you can check them all out on the site. We won't go into them too much because again, they're very not simple, but they're very typical. I would say the only standout, or the one that I kind of think is more interesting and had a bit of a twist that I definitely didn't see coming, was Platinum Creatine in all of the products. Platinum Creatine is indeed a creatine-based muscle builder. However, Optimum Nutrition has not put in your traditional, well, kind of has put in creatine monohydrate, but a specific type of creatine monohydrate. So Glanbia, the owning company of Optimum Nutrition, also has a line of ingredients. I can't remember the exact name. It's Glanbia something. It's slightly different to the one for the sports supplements, but it had, and in that ingredient catalog is a creatine called CreaBev. Now this is, and you would have seen this mentioned a few times on Stacked. This isn't the first time we've seen it, but CreaBev is basically a more water-stable creatine. And I think it was very interesting that on Glanbia's website for this ingredient, they did a stability test, or their own kind of stability test. And they went over, basically compared it to creatine monohydrate and basically CreaBev creatine monohydrate. And so the degradation of the creatine and CreaBev was about 2%. I think it was within the first 5 minutes. That changes drastically over time, but within the first 5 minutes it was had degradation of 2%, whereas regular creatine monohydrate had 11%. And so this was their purpose of putting it into a powder, I guess, was to highlight the benefits of CreaBev. But you will have, I don't think I've seen a supplement that uses it yet. I've seen a lot of drinks that use it because it is designed to be a more water stable, or more stable creatine. So it was pretty interesting to see them put it into a powder supplement and I even mentioned in the post, I was like, yeah, if you're worried about the stability of your creatine in your powder supplement, very simply, don't mix it and drink it later. Just, you know, put some water in your mouth, throw it into your mouth, take it down straight away, or just mix it and drink it straight away. You don't have to worry about the the degradation. But yeah, very interesting to see them put that into a powder supplement, because again, its benefits are, I guess, are much more interesting in the world of beverages. We're actually going to stay in the UK for the next story, where we go over to Naughty Boy, who is well on its way for fulfilling his promise of launching, what was it, 100 SKUs this year was their plan, to at least 100 SKUs. So at least 100 different items across the year. And if you've been following Stacked, and again, very hope you all do, Naughty Boy is well on their way to achieving that. They have pumped out a massive amount of products in just the first few months of the year. And I like that a lot of them haven't been just flavors or sizes, because a SKU can be counted as just a flavor. If you do a chocolate milkshake, vanilla milkshake for your protein powder, you do a peanut butter, that's another SKU, or you do a 1 kg size for your creatine, that's another SKU. So they can add up quickly. However, Naughty Boy hasn't been achieving its immense goal of 100 items this year by doing the flavor extensions, or I guess the easier way that it could have done it. It's been pumping out all new supplements, and a part of that has been the Top Boy series. Now, this is basically intended to be very similar to its Winter Soldier series. This was a legendary line of supplements the brand brought to market a few years ago, and they said it was going to be top of the line for each of the supplements in the Winter Soldier series, and it damn well was. They jacked the shit out of everything in those supplements, and the Top Boy series is very similar. That's kind of the goal. It's a limited edition line. Each of the supplements is full of premium ingredients, premium formulas. However, there is an ongoing twist with each of them, in that they're all infused with electrolytes. So there is Electro EAA, Electro Pump, Electro Pre, and Electro Cregat. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. I'm just going to say Electro Creatine, but it is spelled CREGAATINE, because that is the used type of creatine it has. It's the new creatine, and I'm going to say guanidinic acid. I probably just might be butchering that, but that's what I remember hearing when I've been watching a few videos on it. So yeah, it's a more superior, or I guess intended to be a more superior creatine that combines creatine monohydrate and the creatine precursor shortened to GAA, and that's what's you can get in the name of the supplement. But the reason I want to bring it all up now is because of Electro Pre. Over the last few weeks, Naughty Boy has been revealing formula by formula for each of the Electro supplements in the Top Boy series, and of all of them, my word, this thing stands out like a son of a bitch. And the craziest thing is that you can theoretically stack Electro Pre with Electro Pump, which is the stimulant-free pump pre-workout within the Top Boy series. But I'm going to go over just some of all of the highlights in Electro Pre, and it is one that I'm most certainly going to endeavor to get my hands on, because I did miss out on the Winter Soldier series, which was out around the pandemic era, so it was difficult to get hold of things back then. But yeah, these guys have not disappointed whatsoever. And just keep in mind, this is the stimulant pre-workout. This isn't the pump pre-workout, despite the fact that this has a shitload of pump ingredients. Driving that pump side is, there is 2.5 grams of nitrates, and that is made up of creatine nitrate, betaine nitrate, and the higher concentrated sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate. And I say higher concentrate as in when you get citrulline nitrate or betaine nitrate, for example, the percentage of that ingredient that is nitrates is significantly lower than that of sodium nitrate or potassium nitrate. So hence why I mean higher concentration. Interestingly, Naughty Boy has done something that I have probably only seen one or two other brands do, and that is transparently dose the nitrate. So they list on the label precisely how many or how much nitrates you get per serving. So there's a gram of creatine nitrate, for example, 670 milligrams of that is creatine, and then 330 milligrams of that is nitrates. And that's a transparency level that you just don't, I don't think I've really seen. I've seen brands list citrulline nitrate, or creatine nitrate, whatever, and then they'll list the yield or the total of creatine or the other ingredient. They don't necessarily list the nitrate count, which is very unique to this brand right here. But alongside that, again, this is a comprehensive pre-workout. There is 5 grams of tyrosine, Juglans regia, CDP choline, uridine, subroxy, pure whey C, 3 sources of caffeine combining for, if I'm not mistaken, just shy of 400 milligrams of caffeine, I think. Yeah, around 400 milligrams of caffeine. Peptide pump is in there, the pump ingredient from the AI discovered Peptide Strong guys. Electroprime, which is a combination of Hydroprime and Osmoprime. Hydronox citrulline HCl, which is the new ingredient from the makers of Concrete. It is tended to be very similar to creatine HCl, and that is a concentrated citrulline. There's also taurine, and then a blend of electrolytes. As I said, throughout the Top Boy series, the theme is that they're all infused with electrolytes, and that does continue Electro Pre. But this formula is jacked to hell, and the Electro Pump is just going to juice the crap out of everything. If you go to the website, check this out. We link to Electro Pump in the story on Electro Pre, and you can see exactly what I mean. The blend of electrolytes in this, and the blend of pump ingredients, nitrates in this, as well as everything else that has going on, and then you combine that with Electro Pump, which also has 2.5 grams of combined NO3T nitrates. You're getting 5 grams of nitrates, which if you have the two together, and keep in mind, so nitrates are a powerhouse ingredient when it comes to pumps, but most interestingly, I have seen 4 to 5 grams of combined nitrates before. I have not seen it when you've put potassium nitrate and what's the other one? Sodium nitrate in there. So again, these are more concentrated sources. So if you were to say compare it to 5 grams of straight creatine nitrate, you wouldn't be getting anywhere near as much nitrates if those more concentrated ingredients are involved, sodium and potassium nitrate, which they are indeed involved in the Naughty Boy supplements. It's a beast of a product. Great looking formula. Naughty Boy has come to play, and yeah, check them out on the site. A lot of people have asked when they're going to be available. We will be putting a post out when and where you can get them. There just seems to be a genuine amount of hype for this, and we'll make sure we pass it along and make sure no one misses out. The next story we've got puts us over to the guys at Gorilla Mind, who had a stellar year in 2023, but they are not slowing, 2023, but they're not slowing down in 2024. The first half of this year has been jam-packed with new supplements. They've been pumping out the flavors for their energy drink like they did last year. And this week they've got it was revealed over the weekend. It's launched today, Monday. We're recording this Monday, and the details are now out there. They've brought out a mass gainer. Definitely not a common type of supplement, at least anywhere near as much as it used to, but a very straightforward supplement nonetheless. Mass gainers are pretty much intended for anyone who wants a quick solution for a high calorie dense shake, or someone who might be a hard gainer that wants the ease of getting in. Someone might have trouble eating or putting away 400 calories, 500 calories a meal. A shake definitely solves that problem by putting it all into a beverage, and gains could get you anywhere up to 1,000 calories or so, just the typical amount. And that's pretty much what you get in Gorilla Mind's all-new Gorilla Mode Mass Gainer. They've kept it pretty straightforward, and I wouldn't say straightforward. They've kept it focused on the protein and carbohydrates, which is common for a mass gainer. You get 70 grams of protein alongside 175 grams of carbohydrates. The fat is practically, it's there, but it's non-existent compared to the other amounts. And you get a total of 1,040 calories. Now, it is incredibly worth noting that, and this was something we only found out today when the product was launched, it also has velocitol in there, which is famously known for boosting muscle protein synthesis, has that beautiful tagline, double the power of your protein. But the interesting, even more interesting part here is that this gainer is, I guess you could call it somewhat clean or premium, I guess, in a way. I don't really know how to describe it. But so the carbohydrates come from a variety of sources. There's, I believe it was maltodextrin was in the mix there, as well as sweet potato, waxy maize, oats, and quinoa. The protein, however, now typically when you get a gainer, the goal is, again, high carbs, high protein. and brands don't tend to give you quality sources. Let's just say you were to get a post-workout, a brand would be more inclined to give you all whey isolate and all carb 10, cluster dextrin, some premium sources, just because it's a more concentrated supplement and it justifies sometimes a higher price or a premium price. Mass gainers are the other way around. Typically you get quality, cheap, I mean it's not cheap, but average sources, because the goal is more to give you higher amounts than it is to give you quality sources, if this makes sense. And it's not to knock either, but it's just sort of the trend and the goals of a mass gainer versus something like a quality post-workout or a premium protein powder. In a Gorilla Mode mass gainer, they've actually put whey isolate as the first or the primary source of protein. So from that 70 grams of protein, majority of it is from whey isolate, which I thought was extremely impressive, because I don't think I've seen that before. I might have seen it in a lean gainer, like where you get a 1-to-1 protein to carb ratio, but in a supplement where it's 70 grams of protein to 175 carbs, like I said, I have not seen it, and I've seen it in a lot of supplements in my time. It's just not something that's even remotely common. So kudos to Gorilla Mind for, I guess, stepping up and putting out some quality in an area where you don't necessarily need to be extra quality. So yeah, you can check that out on the site. It is available starting today. The next story we're going to jump to, we've got a bunch more to catch up. I'm going to have to skip some of these guys, unfortunately, but we're going to stay in the world of protein in the next story as we move to G Fuel, the gaming supplement company G Fuel. Now, I mentioned this in a previous podcast, now that I'm saying it, that G Fuel is getting into the protein powder game. Quite a surprise. I remember seeing the teasers and thinking it could be a protein, could be a coffee, could be whatever. It turned out to be a protein, and a caffeinated protein in that. But most importantly, and I thought this was very interesting, if you read the story that we put up on the site, we wrote it as we discovered the surprise. So the interesting twist of G Fuel's energy protein, as they call it, is that it does indeed have protein. So it's got, I believe it's whey concentrate, whey concentrate and isolate. So it's a blend giving you a fairly moderate 15 grams of protein per serving. But the twist comes in that caffeine, because the caffeine isn't by itself. The caffeine is actually, so let's put it simple, the flagship G Fuel supplement known as Energy Formula, the one that is, I guess you could call it the G Fuel supplement, has a blend of ingredients to support energy and focus. Everything that's in that, in a serving, is in the protein powder. So this isn't just caffeine in a protein. This is everything you get from the energy formula in the protein powder, which I thought was a tremendously interesting concept, that they didn't put just caffeine, which could have been an easy way out. That was on the front. They've given you basically the feeling that you get in its energy supplement in the protein powder with the protein. So it's a very cool twist that I guess justifies the price tag, because when I saw it, I think it was $40 for 20 servings at 15 grams of protein, which isn't supremely great, but if you're someone who sees value or enjoys or uses the G Fuel signature supplement energy formula, that's 40, I think it's 35 or 36 itself, and that gets you 40 servings. So this has 20 of those servings combined with the protein for roughly the same price. Very interesting little twist, because yeah, they could have just done the caffeine and protein and been done with it and left it at that. But I thought it was cool that they kept and it's the same ingredients and dosages as well. So everything's the same. You get the 140 milligrams of caffeine, precisely the amount that's in the energy formula. So I thought it was very cool, very interesting twist. Check it out on the site. They do have it now available straight from their website with 3 flavors: chocolate, cafe mocha, and French vanilla latte. But I would also add that treat it more of as a meal replacement, I would say. If you're looking at it as a protein powder, you get 15 grams of 15 grams of protein to 7 grams of carbs. Now that might not seem like much, but keep in mind you are getting 15 grams of protein. So if you were to get 7 grams of carbs and 25 grams of protein, they're still high, but it's not that bad. You are getting 15 grams. So if you're to scale this up and sort of, how much carbs would that be if I had 25 grams of protein? So if you boost the scoop up to get that 25 grams of protein, you'll be walking away with 11 grams of carbohydrates. Now that is certainly closer to meal replacement than it is your traditional lean protein powder. But yeah, check that out on the site as well. The next one, oh man, we're gonna have time for only 2 or 3. We're gonna finish with 3 stories. I think we're gonna have to skip a couple of guys this week. The next story we're gonna shoot to is LMNT. Now I don't know if that's pronounced incorrectly or whatever. It's spelled LMNT. You could say lament. I'm saying element because I think it kind of sounds what it's meant to sound like. It's a hydration company, very specialized hydration company. They've been around for a while, built quite the following, and they've stuck to a very core formula of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 potassium, 60 magnesium, and that's what they've put into their supplement, and their hydration supplement is what they're known for. It's what they've always been known for. So this past week, they introduced a beverage version, a sparkling canned carbonated version. So while everyone's been doing energy drinks and some of them very supremely advanced energy drinks, LMNT has come out and done a hydration drink, and it's got energy is not a part of it. It is basically the exact same formula you get in its hydration supplement of 1 gram of sodium, 200 potassium, 60 magnesium, but in beverage format, and they've kept it nice and clean. And I thought it was very cool that they did, the calories and the carbs are identical as well. So in a single serving of the supplement, you get 1 gram of carbs and 5 calories, none of that sugar. That is exactly the same as what you get in the beverage. Now, if you're at all familiar with supplements, most of the time when you go from powder or even pill to drink, you lose a lot of that. Brands just don't keep it consistent. Sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's harder to flavor, sometimes stability issues. There's a whole bunch of things that have play into it. But LMNT has stayed true to its core, and I like how for as long as they've been known, this was the format of their energy drink. This was what they did. This was what they stuck to. They didn't falter too much from their hydration supplement. That's what they've been pushing since the start. And then here, they've just done whatever they needed to keep that going. A very cool consistency and just need and necessity to make sure that that core formula stayed the same. And I think it would be very important for their fans as well, who have followed them for so long, and I guess knowing that, hey, 1 gram of sodium, 200, this is the key. And then for them to do a drink, instead of them saying, hey, it would have tasted better if we did this, or maybe whatever they wanted to do. I just like how they kept it exactly the same. It's very cool to see, and you can get it now from the LMNT website. It may look expensive. It isn't. It's $72. However, that is for 32 cans. Was it 32? Yes. So you have to buy them in packs of 8, but you have to buy 4. So it works out to, like, I think we put up so it works out to at 72 for 32. That comes out at 27 per 12. So that's not too bad. Fairly typical for, I guess, a beverage from a sports nutrition company. Next up, we're going to try and squeeze 2 in. We have a story from the first reveal of any kind of formula from Kris Gethin's new brand, Unmatched, which we had previously focused an episode on for the podcast in the last few weeks, when it was revealed that Kris Gethin was indeed the man behind the brand and going to be the face of Doug Miller's new Unmatched supplements. Now we have a look at its first formula, and it is a pre-workout. It's called BH2K, Be Harder to Kill. It is a very well-rounded supplement, and to be honest, with Doug Miller and Kris Gethin involved, you expect nothing less. But they have included a few components in here that I guess make it quite a bit different to what you might have expected. So the formula, again, is pretty well-rounded, pretty robust. It hits on all the areas, energy-focused pumps and performance. Driving the pumps is 6 grams of the 3D pump blend. You've then got 1 gram of acetyl-L-carnitine, 2 grams of tyrosine for focus, 3.2 beta-alanine for performance. I always say Cognit IQ, but I always say Cognatic. It just sounds, I don't know if that's right. It's the one that used to be called Neurofactor. That's at a full 100 milligrams. Cognizant is in there as well at 250, a Dynamite 250 of the premium improving cognitive ingredient. And now the surprises here are the Infinity Paraxanthine. So the energy in this isn't going to be coming from caffeine, as you might have seen in, I think, most other, if not all other, Kris Gethin pre-workouts, I think. I don't recall him doing one that didn't have an alternative caffeine source. So in here they rely on infinity paraxanthine, which is a paraxanthine being a metabolite of caffeine, and it is promoted as sort of like an evolution or an innovation of caffeine that gives you the wanted benefits of caffeine without the unwanted benefits of the ingredient, like a crash or a tolerance buildup. So it's a much smoother, cleaner, less up and down energy effect, but it is still very noticeable. And they've included it in Unmatched supplements BH2K at 300 milligrams, so a fairly typical dose of what you would get for caffeine, but infinity paraxanthine. And the other ingredient is creatine. I'm just going to say it creatine. I actually mentioned it earlier in this episode. I'm talking about the creatine guanidinoacetic acid. I think I missed out part of that word earlier. Yeah, guanidinoacetic acid. So creatine is basically the combination of creatine and GAA in short. And basically the GAA is the precursor of creatine, and it basically promises better uptake, or it can deliver better uptake in creatine compared to creatine monohydrate. And so Kris Gethin and his brand Unmatched have slapped that in there at 2 grams a serving. So not that typically high dose you will see in a creatine monohydrate, but it is again this new creatine that's very clearly shown up in a lot of different supplements. As I mentioned earlier, it is the star of the show in Naughty Boys creatine, or electrocreatine. So you can check out that supplement on our website. And the last story we have, as we finally get to the finish line, you can see it behind me. It is none other than RYSE's latest collaboration. And this one blew up. This one just, right when people keep saying collaborations aren't as excited anymore, or they don't seem to pop as much, it's getting the right one. And I think people react to different ones, different brands. If someone else did this collaboration, it might not have popped off as well. But RYSE is known for collabs, and so this one blew up. Probably one of the biggest stories. The biggest story I think might have been from the last 7 days. So RYSE has partnered with Little Debbie, the food company, to turn its legendary or iconic cosmic brownies into a flavor of loaded protein powder. Loaded protein powder being the current champion of our Protein Wars competition, and home to many other authentic collaborations RYSE has done over the years, including Moon Pie. They did the Skippy one, the Skippy peanut butter. They also did the marshmallow collab, and so now they're doing a Little Debbie Cosmic Brownies protein powder. It does have inclusions, so this is going for a truly authentic experience. I say truly authentic as in when you throw in inclusions that I guess are familiar or from the food itself, it just really authenticates the experience. It makes it a little more genuine, because keep in mind we are going from cosmic brownies here to a liquid, and unless you're blending up those things, it's going to be very difficult to have that feeling and familiarity. So inclusions definitely help, and also this is still a protein powder, so this is going to have practically no carbohydrates, fat, and a lot of protein. It is what it is, and they're going to attempt to deliver that iconic taste of cosmic brownies in a protein shake, and it's coming out shortly. I believe they set the date for the 17th of May, so it's going live at the end of this week. They did also say going live on Friday the 17th at precisely midday Central Time. So that leads me to believe it's going to be on their website. So generally when they have a specific time, the only time they can control that is if it's on their own online store, typically, and that's, I guess, the first place you're going to be able to get it. I imagine it will be going into other places. RYSE is available in a number of locations, so I suspect that it will, that'll be the place you'll be getting it first. So for this episode, I am losing my voice a bit, but we got through it. For this episode, that is it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making the whole way through. As always, all we ask for you to do to support is visit the website multiple times a day. Check out all of the latest supplements, protein powders, pre-workouts, everything in between. Some things that aren't out and coming soon. We keep the entire world up to date, and We appreciate any time someone can visit and check out the stuff. And for that's it. Make sure you share the website with your mom, your dad, brother, sister, friends, and family, and look forward to having you back next time.